Imagine what you would do if all the faucets in your house suddenly went 100% dry. No water for showers, for brushing your teeth, for washing clothes or dishes. No water for cooking or even drinking. Instead, you and your family are suddenly dependent on the small group of super rich private companies who have spent the past several years buying up all the Earth's fresh water. Your monthly water bill becomes bigger than your car note, bigger than your mortgage. Within just 48 hours, dozens of your neighbors are putting their furniture out on the streets for sale. Riots break out in grocery stores as the last gallons of bottled water vanish from the shelves. Within a few short months, the gap between the middle class and the poor collapses as fresh, drinkable water suddenly becomes the biggest and most urgent expense of the average American family. If you think this sounds like a bad dream, you'll want to pay close attention to the message in this video. This is because economists and environmentalists have already confirmed that within the next 5 to 10 years, the world will face the most terrifying freshwater shortage in history. But what's even more shocking is what bottled water companies are doing to prepare themselves and what's already happening to the water you're drinking right now. Most people have no idea that the water they're drinking today could be the very thing which causes them and their children to develop gastrointestinal illness, reproductive problems, neurological disorders, and even cancer. And while this is happening, the same super rich elite who have been amassing billions, even trillions of dollars in personal wealth at the expense of the American middle class, are already planning to use this crisis to make themselves richer and to gain more control over hardworking citizens like you and me. My name is Michael Davis. I made this video shortly after witnessing the horrible water crisis in my hometown in Flint, Michigan. What I'm about to show you is the shocking reason this water crisis wasn't just an isolated event and why you need to take action yesterday. While millions wait with bated breath for news on the hottest celebrity gossip or reality show, our most valuable resource, water, is being stolen from us. Even as you watch this video, millions of gallons of fresh water are being pumped out of natural lakes, streams, rivers, and aquifers. This is on private land, which contains the public's drinking water. And because most of our politicians are bought and paid for, all of this is happening legally. And as you can see, the consequences are going to be devastating for the people who aren't prepared. You see, most of us take our drinking water for granted. We use it like it will last forever. It's easy to forget that without it, we're dead in days. But here's the frightening truth. According to articles published by The Economist, Bloomberg Businessweek, The New Yorker, and many others, fresh drinking water could be well on its way to becoming the new oil. By this, I mean that it will quickly become the most precious commodity on Earth, and that the price of fresh, drinkable water will explode on a global scale. Now I know what you're thinking. The Earth is covered with water. How could it possibly run out? Well, just think of fresh water like peak oil. As you probably know, we've been really lucky over the past 100 years. The oil we're using right now has been easy to locate and to mine out of the earth. This easy access oil is called peak oil, and there's only so much of it left on Earth. Peak oil is quickly running out, and when it does, oil companies will be forced to pay a lot more money to locate it and to drill for it. Oil and gas prices will then become so high, it will be impractical for us to keep paying for it to fuel our cars and our houses and to build oil-based products like tires, plastics, tennis shoes, and dozens of other everyday products which we now take for granted. Likewise, the Earth is covered with water, but very little of that is safe to drink. Of the water that is safe, over 2/3 is locked away in ice caps and glaciers. And as you know, much of that water is quickly becoming unsafe to drink. not just because of the constant onslaught of unsafe chemicals being dumped into our lakes, streams, rivers, and aquifers, but also because of several natural pollutants, which you'd be shocked to discover are found even in natural spring water. It costs money to make this water drinkable, and the demand is growing every day. So it's only a matter of time before the companies who are preparing our drinking water are forced to hike up the prices on us. Between our climbing population, our increased use of water for agriculture and manufacturing purposes, and continued corruption amongst those who bottle and deliver our water, we could very soon be in a position where fresh, drinkable water becomes your biggest household expense. When it does, many American families could be forced to eat less and to stop heating and air conditioning their homes, just to afford the water which they need for survival. Others will have to settle for subpar, partially safe water. Water which contains chemicals from pharmaceutical drugs and byproducts of chemical manufacturing. Boiling water won't solve this problem. Neither will low-cost solutions like charcoal filters or even some more expensive water purification systems you've heard about. Our drinking water will become so contaminated that only highly expensive filtering purification and reverse osmosis processes will be able to make it safe for drinking. Are you starting to see why you need to do something about this right away? Now, before I tell you what I'm doing to protect my family and what you can do to protect yours, let me share the warning signs that this crisis has already started to happen. United States families depend on massive underground aquifers as their primary source of fresh drinking water. Once the water in these aquifers is gone, it's gone for good. One of our largest and most vital sources of fresh drinking water is the Ogallala Aquifer in the Midwest. The Ogallala Aquifer covers more than 100,000 square miles and sits beneath the states of Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, and South Dakota. This crucial aquifer is a primary source of fresh drinking water to nearly a dozen of states in the Midwest. But that's not all. It's also a vital source of water for growing crops and supplying us with food. Midwest U.S. farmers use water from this aquifer to irrigate more than 15 million acres of crops each year. Right now, the Ogallala Aquifer is being drained at an alarming rate of 800 gallons per minute. According to a 2012 article in National Geographic, the average depletion rate of the Ogallala Aquifer between 2000 and 2007 was more than double what it had been in the past 50 years. Decades ago, the Ogallala Aquifer had an average depth of approximately 240 feet. Today, the average depth is just 80 feet. In some areas of Texas, the water is gone completely. In recent years, this depletion has become so severe that the water table beneath sizable areas in Texas has dropped 100 to 150 feet in smaller pockets, and more than 150 feet in larger ones. United States scientists are now warning that nothing can be done to stop this depletion. David Brower of the Ogallala Research Service has now said, "Our goal now is to engineer a soft landing. That's all we can do." According to the U.S. National Academy of Sciences, the U.S. Interior West is now the driest that it has been in 500 years. A recent U.S. government report posted by NBC News showed that 36 states are either already facing water shortages or will be within the next few years. At the start of 2016, California citizens found themselves facing the fourth year of serious drought. Shortly before this, experts estimated that California only has a 20-year supply of fresh water left. Lake Mead, which supplies 85% of the water to Las Vegas, has dropped by about 5.6 trillion gallons in just the past few years. Experts have estimated that New Mexico only has a 10-year supply of fresh water left. The 1,450-mile-long Colorado River, probably the most important body of water in the southwestern United States, is also rapidly drying. An article by Jonathan Waterman on National Geographic's website read, Leave the sprinklered green lawns outside the Aspen conferences. Come with me, and I'll show you a Colorado River running dry from its headwaters to the sea. It is polluted and compromised by industry and agriculture. It is over-allocated, drought-stricken, and soon to suffer greatly from population growth. If other leaders in our administration continue the whitewash, the scarcity of knowledge and lack of conservation measures will cripple a Western civilization built upon water. Approximately 40% of all rivers and approximately 46% of all lakes in the United States have already become so polluted that they are no longer fit for human use. Over the past few years, wildfires caused by drought conditions have burned millions of acres of vegetation in the central part of the United States in recent years. This has now set the stage for devastating dust storms. More water will be required to counteract these problems. Jeannie Marie St. Jacques, a paleoclimatologist from the University of Virginia, has suggested that the decade-long drought conditions in North America could get much worse. Here's what she said at a recent conference for the American Association for the Advancement of Science in Vancouver. What we're seeing in the climate records is these mega droughts. And they don't last a decade. They last 20 years, 30 years, maybe 60 years, and they'll be semi-continental in expanse. Imagine the dirty 30s going on for 30 years. That's what scares those of us who are in the community studying this data pool. Are you starting to see how serious this is? But wait till you hear this. Global water usage has quadrupled over the past 100 years, and it is now increasing faster than it ever has been before. 1.6 billion people already live in areas of the world which are considered water-stressed. And according to USAID, 1/3 of the people on Earth will be facing severe or chronic water shortages by the year 2025. Experts at the American Water Works Association tell us that U.S. water bills are likely to soar in the coming years due to the increased cost of repairing and expanding our decaying drinking water infrastructure. This problem will cost American taxpayers more than $1 trillion over the next 25 years. And our water bills are estimated to triple over that time period. China is already facing issues with polluted water and shortages in key areas due to rapid population growth and increasing demand for fresh water. India is expecting to completely run out of drinkable water by 2025. The water level in the Jordan River is a meager 2% of its historical rate. According to the United Nations, the world is going to need at least 30% more fresh water by the year 2030. Yet, the American Society of Civil Engineers reported that while America needs to spend $255 billion in the next 5 years to prevent deterioration of our water infrastructure, we only plan to spend half that amount. In 2012, on his show Conspiracy Theory, former Governor Jesse Ventura exposed a plot by major bottled water companies to pump millions of gallons of water out of the Great Lakes. What do these companies know that we don't? They know that fresh drinking water is quickly going the way of peak oil, and they want to profit from the coming crisis. While the mainstream media tried to pass this off as just another tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, and claimed that the water in these lakes had simply evaporated. Just 4 years later, the Flint, Michigan water crisis showed us that there was more going on than they wanted us to believe. On April 16, 2013, rather than charge extra money for good water, the city of Flint created a plan for getting water from Lake Huron while our pipeline from Detroit was being completed. The complaints first started coming in May of 2014. People were getting sick from drinking the water, which had tested positive for deadly E. coli bacteria. That's bacteria found in human feces. Next, our water was tested again and found to contain traces of a known disinfectant byproduct. They hired consultants to investigate this and told us that people with strong immune systems had nothing to worry about. But then, we learned that the children in Flint were starting to show higher degrees of lead in their blood, which is known to cause serious physical and neurological problems later in life. Parents were terrified and angry, as they should be. And you can imagine what's happening in the cities where people aren't being tested like they were here in Flint. Next, people started coming down with Legionnaire's disease. We had picketing in the streets. 10 people actually died from drinking poisoned water. My 4-year-old son Tyler was almost one of them. He was rushed to the hospital one night after drinking just 8 ounces of water, which we purified using the standard charcoal filter methods. This was just after the water had been deemed safe for drinking. Before anyone realized what was really happening, I was furious, so I started doing some research. That's how I discovered all of this. If you think this can't happen in your hometown, think again. The earth might be covered with water, but it's quickly running out of fresh, drinkable water. People who aren't prepared will be forced to drink low-grade water. Some companies might even promote low-cost alternatives for people who can't afford expensive water treatments for their homes. But do you think these companies will really tell you the truth about why their water is so cheap? My friend, you and I are either going to be prepared for what's coming, or we'll be forced to deal with an outrageous water bill. And unless we can afford to have our water purified ourselves, we'll be strong-armed into paying premium fees for bottled water and hoping that the water they're selling us is really as safe as they say it is. Is this a risk you're willing to take? I didn't think so. So here's what you can do about it. First, I want to offer you the benefit of learning from my experience and research. So, I've compiled everything I've learned from my 100+ hours of extensive research into a step-by-step guide for surviving the coming water crisis. I've spent more than 100 hours interviewing some of the best survival experts in the country to create this guide, and I'm offering it all to you in one condensed, infinitely valuable resource called H20 Conspiracy. This guide will show you, number 1, how to read the warning signs. You'll learn how the elites have managed to buy up huge freshwater lands without anyone noticing it. You'll discover their plans to sacrifice the good of all for the profit and power of a few, and how you can educate your friends and family members about it. Number 2, how the laws are being used against us. This made me furious. You'll discover why it's illegal for you and I to collect rainwater, but legal for bottled water companies to drain millions of gallons of fresh water from public resources. Number 3, how to educate others about this without freaking them out. I'll show you more evidence than you'll ever need that this is really happening and that you need to be prepared. Number 4, I blow the whistle on the big players in this conspiracy. You'll get a list of names of individuals and companies draining our fresh water right now. As you know, if we educate enough people about this, the elite will have far less leverage on us. After reading this guide, you'll know who's responsible. It might shock you, but trust me, once you know who these people are, you'll be glad you got your hands on this information. Number 5, you'll know exactly what to do if things go really bad. If current trends continue, we're in for a world of hurt in the next 20 to 25 years. I'll reveal what I think that will look like and how you can prepare for it. Number 6, I'll show you what equipment you'll need and what equipment you won't. There are a few key items you absolutely can't afford to get caught without. I'll show you the exact tools you'll need to get prepared and how to save yourself thousands of dollars on water purifying equipment. Plus, you'll get a step-by-step plan for leveraging natural water sources so you can become self-sustainable. If you rely on the government or private companies for your drinking water, when it becomes scarce, they'll make you pay a fortune for it. But if you follow the plan laid out in this simple guide, you won't have to. This is how to ensure that you'll be well prepared to deal with the crisis. I don't say this lightly. This is one of the most important books you will ever read. All the insights and preparation instructions you need are in this book. You'll be well prepared to deal with the crisis, which most people don't even know is on the horizon. Now, as you know, it costs money to keep this video online and to share it with as many people as possible. Between that and our hospital bills from dealing with the water crisis here, I can't afford to give this guide away for free. But I will make it absolutely painless and risk-free for you to get your hands on it at a discounted price of just $17. Plus, I'm so certain that this guide contains some of the most important information you'll ever get your hands on that I'm protecting you with a 100% money-back guarantee if you're unsatisfied. There's an Add to Cart button right below this video. Just click that button and the guide is yours in the next few minutes. Plus, everyone who orders this guide gets access to my members-only H2O Alert newsletter. Here, I'll keep you updated on what my current research is revealing about the developing water crisis. Second, I want to share one more surprising secret with you about what's already in your drinking water right now. This is something else which I discovered during my research. And I'm not just talking about tap water. You'll be amazed and disgusted to discover this for yourself. You'll get access to this special video as soon as you place your order by clicking the button below this video. Finally, please help spread the word about this message by sharing this video with as many people as you can. This is probably the most important thing you can do to help us fight back, so don't leave this page without clicking one of the social media buttons on this page. The more people who know about this, the harder it will be for these turkeys to keep pulling the wool over our eyes. Click the Add to Cart button and grab your copy of this guide before you leave this page. Remember, it's not a matter of if this happens. It's a matter of when. If you think living in the United States makes you safe, just remember, in the early 2000s, no one thought they were going to lose their home or get laid off in the next 10 years. Most people just stuck their heads in the sand when the global economic crisis was looming on the horizon. And while you're watching this video, the rest of the population is simply going about their lives, working 9-to-5 jobs and falling asleep in front of the TV every night. Meanwhile, our nation's currency is deteriorating towards one of the most crushing economic collapses in history. Our public water supply is being sucked dry by the same super-rich scumbags who have shipwrecked our currency and forced us to pay outrageous prices for oil, are planning their next move by hoarding up all the fresh water. Contaminated water now contains dozens of kinds of toxins, both natural and artificial. Children who drink our water are now showing reduced attention spans and other neurological issues. The more dangerous our water becomes, the more we'll rely on bottled water to survive. Will you be prepared, or will you be kicking yourself later for deciding to just follow the crowd now? Remember, it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark, but by the time it started, it was too late for everyone who laughed at him for rightly reading the signs of the time. Take action now. Click the Add to Cart button below and get ready to see this next, very important video where you'll discover what's happening to the water you're already drinking right now.
Hi, my name is Bill Tanner and I'm from Lubbock, Texas. I just bought Michael's book and read it in the first 48 hours. I tell you what, if you're serious about your family's well-being and financial future, you need to get this book and read it ASAP. I actually got both Michael's books, H2O Conspiracy and H2O Detox, and both of them are just exploding with good information about the water crisis. Folks, it's happened already in several cities in the U.S. It's going to get worse, and you need to be informed and prepared. That's why I bought this book, and that's why I think you should too.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Marie. I was one of the first people Michael called in preparation for creating the video you just saw, and for information in both of his books. If you're concerned about what you just saw, you have every reason to be. The companies Michael talks about in his book, they're not concerned about your health. All they care about is how much money they can make, and that's why so many of them don't want you to have this information. Most people already know how important it is to eat healthy and exercise, but nothing has more impact on your long-term health than what's in your drinking water. And that's why this is something you need to be informed about. If you're thinking about getting this guide for yourself, I'm here to tell you that you're making the right decision. Michael's second video also reveals some shocking information about what's in your water. And believe me, you need to know this. So again, I'm Dr. Lisa Marie, and this is my official endorsement of Michael's videos and his books, H2O Conspiracy and H2O Detox.
Hi, my name is Shelly, and I'm from Grover Beach, California. If you're watching this, I'm sure you know what's going on in California with the drought and everything. I don't usually review books, even on Amazon, and I've never made a video like this, but I just bought Michael's H20 conspiracy book, and there is some stuff in here that everyone needs to know. Whether you're in a drought area or not, Michael really did his homework on what's happening with the water crisis. There's some scary stuff in this book, but it's stuff that everybody deserves to know. And there's information in this book that you just won't find on the internet. So if you're thinking about it, just get it. You really won't regret it.
Hi, my name's Janet, and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I got Michael's book, and I just got done reading it, and wow. I thought I was pretty well informed about this stuff, but there's stuff in there that I had never heard before. I even read and reread some chapters, especially the chapter on the evidence, and the action plan in chapter 7 was just amazing. So this is a real eye-opening book, and I just wanted to share that with anyone who's thinking about whether they should get it.
Hi guys, my name is Dave from California, and I'm what you would call like a semi-professional researcher. I do a lot of investigation on stuff like this, and I have to say I'm very impressed with what Michael's done in this book. Now, I probably could have found all this information myself, but it would have taken me around 30 to 40 hours maybe, and I think some of the information in this book I wouldn't have found at all. So little to say, I was very impressed what was in the book, and I think you'll find that some of it is very, scary good information, and you'll agree with me once you get your hands on this book.
Hi, my name's Kyle Jamison. I'm from Kansas City. I found Michael's H20 conspiracy video online about 3 months ago, and if you're anything like me, you might be thinking you can just read up on this stuff online. But after reading both Michael's books and seeing the second video, I'm glad I invested in getting all this information in one place. You know how it is. We hear about things like this, but there's this little voice in the back of our head saying, oh, it's not going to be that bad. I'm sure it'll be okay. But after what's happened with our economy and our banking system, and with all the corruption going on in Wall Street and the currency manipulation, I think we can all agree it's better to be safe than sorry, and it's better to be informed than to be caught off guard. Bottom line, there's some very useful and insightful stuff in this book. I don't want to give anything away, but I think everyone would be smart to get their hands on it. I'm glad I did, and I think you will be too.